Welcome to the Yes You Can podcast, a soft place to land for fit pros and aspiring entrepreneurs looking for a motivational cheerleader who's been through it all and believes your best life is about being brave and tapping into your magic. Hi, I'm Hannah Pratt, an online coach and vulnerability queen. I'm here ready to share my experiences through grief, life, and finding my place on the podium to help you level up. So grab a latte and a notebook and get ready to be inspired through the Yes You Can podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Yes You Can podcast. I am so excited for today's guest. In dreaming up this season's guests and topics for the podcast, I was like, honestly, I've been in a funk. Honestly, I have been in a funk with recording, with putting out content. When I first started really focusing in on fitness education, fitness mentorship in 2021, I was one of one. There was a few others maybe, and now the space, there's so many creators, and it that's great, but it also feels like I'm hearing a lot of the same message, and it's almost like gotten in my head a little bit, asking me or requiring me to sort of self-reflect and be like, what am I saying that's different? Because a lot of the message I used to say have been amplified and other creators are saying them now, which is great. But it's required me to be like, dig deep and be like, what am I not hearing? What am I not seeing? And as I think mostly about, Instagram and my social media channels or my emails, even my courses, I've come back to like, nobody's doing long form content like this on the podcast. Conversations with founders, conversations with creators, with coaches, with people even outside of the fitness space, but more in the wellness space too. And so I'm like returning back to my mission. I took this long roundabout route of being like, what do I create? Everybody's saying the same thing. And now I'm like, why don't you just go back to just recording podcast episodes, Hannah? It's literally the thing that you started with. And so today's guest is Holland Scattergood. If you don't know her from social media or her studio in Arizona, you should absolutely follow her. She's one of those creators that is not like others and is not perpetuating sort of the same stuff I'm seeing. Yes, she plays Taylor Swift, which is very popular, but it's like her whole vibe is so joyful and authentic and genuine and just like full of happy. And I don't know about you, you might feel one way or another, but like there was this neutralization of fitness aesthetics in the last few years. I think after there's always it goes from one extreme to the next, right? And then 2016, 2015, like the 2010s, there was so much, bright colors and patterns and everything on fitness gear. And then we went to nudes and black and I see so many studios that are so beautiful, but I still feel like that bright, shiny person. It's probably because I'm a millennial and I'm gripping onto my my pattern tights with a death grip. But I see that joy returning to a lot of creators' accounts, like Jordan Reichart at Healthy Bun, who's never stopped posting, the full joy, happy, genuine enthusiasm for group fitness. And that's what I see coming from Holland. Holland also has a background in PR and journalism, which I found by sleuthing her LinkedIn, one of my favorite places to find people. And we talk a little bit about that. We talk about founding NYX, her studio, opening up the second location that's coming in July, and really her journey to the podium, which, similar to mine, started with actually being rejected. The sort of plot twist that we said after we stopped recording is the person who rejected her or denied her audition very kindly, the manager of the studio, DJ, then became her business partner and helped train her as an instructor. So it's just this beautiful full circle moment. And so if you're thinking about auditioning or you have auditioned and been rejected, Remind yourself that like people like Holland and myself both went through it and kept going. No doesn't mean isn't a complete sentence. It might just mean not right now or not this studio. She also took a similar journey in going to a smaller studio and like similar to me, I didn't get to work the one I wanted right away, but I went and taught 6 a.m.s. And so, for those of you who are interested in starting your instructor journey, I highly recommend you check out Podium Prep. It is less than $100. It is my mini course teaching you everything you need to know before you get to the podium, literally how to put a microphone on your face so that you are prepared for the audition, choosing your audition tracks, even how to reach out to studios, and then an entire manual on training. So, it is well worth the money. And will teach you so much and prepare you. There's even a visualization exercise going to like driving to the studio to practice or to audition. That's all my voice. I just sort of take you through some meditation. And then of course Instructor Magic is coming up. We are about to launch another round. So for those of you who are curious, you can head to hannahspin.com and all of the information is there as also in the show notes. Without further ado, I'm going to welcome Holland Scattergood to the Yes You Can podcast. Welcome, Holland, to the Yes You Can podcast. I'm so excited to have you here today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really super excited.
So we were just chatting as I do with all my guests before we actually hit record and getting into the conversation.
Yeah.
But one thing didn't get the chance to ask you, and I'm so curious about, is your own journey from like riding, doing group fitness classes. I understand you were doing it sort of in college to instructor and then studio owner. And I was wondering if you could give us sort of like the Coles notes of that journey and what prompted you to become an instructor and then open a studio of your own.
Yeah, the whole timeline. Okay, let me see if
Mhm.
I can let me like make this concise. Um, so in college is when I took my first spin class. One of my best friends took me to a spin class. I had never been before. I really wasn't into working out, slash, I had a pretty bad relationship with like working out and
Mm.
food.
Okay.
And either I would like go one way or like go extreme the other way. So
Mm-hmm.
like either be like going full out working out and whatever or not at all. And I was
Mm-hmm.
definitely in the not at all. Um, horrible
Phase.
relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah, just bad. And I also didn't realize I had some undiagnosed health problems. So I just really had
Mm.
a hard time with my energy. But my friend took me to this class. I was did not want to go. It was a 6 a.m. class, I'm pretty sure.
That's a rough intro.
I know, I was like, girl,
Then.
I don't even know how I got up for it. Like crazy. And then after class, I was talking to my friend and I was like, oh my gosh, how do you become an instructor? That was the
Mhm.
best thing I've ever done. I want to go again. I want to be an instructor. Why would I say that after my first class? That's
The
insane.
endorphins.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Oh, okay." And like both of us kind of wanted to be instructors too at that point. And I just kept going back and going back and going back. And it wasn't for, to have any particular aesthetic. It wasn't for
Mhm.
the wrong reasons. It was because I just had so much fun and felt so good doing it.
Mm. Yeah.
And my instructors, I never felt like they were talking about like bodies or having to do everything perfectly. And it was just something fun that was super challenging
Hmm.
that I finally enjoyed in terms of movement. And it was really empowering for me because I felt pretty weak at the time with like emotional stuff and school
Hmm.
stuff and health stuff. And it just changed a lot for me.
Hmm.
So kept going back. I moved to the Phoenix area, which is where I live right now. And my husband and I both got jobs here in the Phoenix area after school. And I found another studio here in town called the Madison and
Okay.
started going to the Madison. It was like one of the bigger studios in Arizona. They had three locations and they were huge. It was poppin'. And I went and took a few classes, got hooked. All the instructors were so nice. And then I want to say maybe after a year of living here, they posted an audition and I showed it to my husband. And I was like, oh, this would be cool. Like if I was brave enough, I would do it. And he was like, why? Well, like, why not? Why not? It's
Mhm.
not requiring any experience. You might as well. And so I applied and pretty much, I mean, I had no experience and there were so many people going out for this audition. It was like an immediate rejection
Oh,
from this.
wow.
And I
Okay.
went in like inexperienced. I did it.
Yeah.
So immediate rejection. And so I didn't let it defeat me.
Hmm.
I emailed the manager back. I said, okay, thank you for that. What do I have to do to get this job?
Hmm.
And the manager emailed me back and said, we're looking for maybe a little bit more experience. Like, go try to get some experience somewhere else if you can in your free time until we do another audition if you really want this, and then come back and try again. And the manager knew me. I took his classes all the time. So I felt like I had a pretty good relationship with everyone, and I still kept going to class. I didn't let it stop me. I was like pretty determined at that point. But I did go get another job at a smaller studio in town, and 6 months later, they posted an audition at the Madison.
I love
Uh,
this so much. I'm sorry. Like I like trying so hard not to interrupt, but continue on because so few people would have done this. Like
I
so
know.
few people actually like take the advice and come back and try again. And I just love it. So sorry. Continue. I will not
Yeah.
interrupt.
Yeah. I don't know, it was crazy. And this small studio I was working at also was super far from my house. Like not close, but I was still going, like I was getting the experience. As soon as I walked into that smaller studio too, I think the instructor whose class I took, she said, "Have you ever thought about being an instructor?" And I was like, "Wow, yes, I have actually."
Fun
Uh,
fact, that's why I'm here.
exactly. And so, yeah, when they posted that audition, I was kind of like thinking if I could maybe work at both studios or whatever for a little bit. That studio was not going to be okay with that at all, the
Mm.
smaller studio.
Mhm.
So I went and tried out at the Madison, got the job, same manager. He hired me like I'm pretty sure I got the acceptance email like the day of after my
Amazing.
audition. And the rest is history there. I worked there until it closed in 2023, which was so insane.
Mm.
Like all of the locations slowly started to get the news that they were closing, and I was mainly at our Tempe location, and we hadn't gotten a notice that the business was closing, but all the like the Scottsdale location, the Phoenix location had all been notified that they were closing. And we thought we were good. We thought there was going to be one location left. And then a month before they closed their doors, they had like a Zoom call and they were like, we're closing, so bye. And I was like,
Wow.
and some people had been working there for like 10 years,
Hmm.
were full time. It was wild. It was really
Yeah.
sad. Um,
And sad for the community too, I would imagine. Like it's that feels like a something to grieve almost, like the loss of that. Yeah, that would be incredibly challenging.
just with a month's notice too. And they weren't posting it out on socials. There were no emails. It was just like literal notice on the door.
Mm,
What-
God.
And people were so sad. It was terrible. And a little bit before that, my friends and I, who currently own NYX, we
Hmm.
all we all worked there together, and we had kind of just been observing some weird stuff,
Hmm.
like the other two locations closing, just some other weird things. We were like, what is going on? So we had already been talking about opening a studio ourselves, and this was like the sign to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. The universe is like, okay, it's your time. Exactly.
Right. And at that time, there weren't that many studios in the Phoenix area. There was just like the Madison, Power and Flow.
Hmm.
That was really it. Now there are so many,
Mm.
a ton. After the Madison closed, so many opened up.
Hmm.
But we were able to find a writer that wanted to invest in our space. And pretty much when they found out that the studio was closing, our investor currently pretty much was like, well, we have to do something. Let's open a business. And I was like, oh my God. It was just stars aligned. That doesn't happen to
Yeah,
like anyone.
it doesn't. No. I work with a lot of studio owners and there's a lot like I think sometimes when things are meant to be, the universe like just opens the roads for you, you
Yeah.
know? And that sounds like what happened here, which is amazing.
Yeah. So stars aligned. And yeah, we got right into it. We started, I think we signed a lease, I want to say in August or September of 2023.
Hmm.
And we opened the following April. So
Okay.
it took us a second to get everything together to be able to announce it because we wanted to keep our community locked in and the people who had nowhere to go. We wanted to
Hmm.
tell them, don't worry, we'll be back.
Hmm.
Just you have to hang tight. So I can't quite remember when we announced it, but I think it was in the fall. And then people were on their toes until April. And what was amazing was when we did open our doors, so many of our people came back. They had been
Hmm.
waiting to come ride with us.
Hmm.
And that was the coolest part. And it just seemed exactly how it was supposed to be, or it seemed back to normal, but even better because it was our own space this time.
Yeah, I love that like you probably, I don't know, but might have been feeling some anxiety at some point about like, is like, are the people gonna come? You know, that old like Field of Dreams quote of like, if you build it, will they come?
Yeah.
And people who love community sometimes go find a space elsewhere and, you know,
Yeah.
breaking habits and all that sort of stuff. I think that just is such a testament to the space and the community and the relationships that you and your co-founders have with riders, which is like, I can only imagine three instructors opening a space, like how much, because you each have probably your own sort of people who might go, you know, prefer somebody's style or whatever over another,
Mhm.
but all together, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And and that timeline sounds right. Like I feel like people expect studios just to pop up and like the bikes usually have to come on some ship and they're always like delayed and
Yeah.
like permits and all that sort of stuff. Um, and I know that your background's in journalism and PR, like from what I at least I've sleuthed on the internet.
That's wild. Yeah.
Yeah, it's your name is very unique. So it's
Yes,
not hard.
that's true.
It's not hard. But what sort of like skills did you leverage through like from either previous work experiences or each other's work experiences in opening a studio? Like for sure building community and experience on the podium, but also like other things that, you know, running a business, it's almost an entirely different thing than running a class sometimes. Were there some skills that you were surprised that you like came in handy?
I think that honestly, in terms of like instructing and building community, I think my journalism degree helped me a lot.
Hmm.
I was always talking to people, interviewing people. I did like broadcast journalism stuff. I did the
Mm,
local TV station
yeah.
at school, and I was just not super afraid to talk to people and be in front of people.
Hmm.
So that helped me a lot. I also worked with kids in college and
Mm,
I did a youth group, which is crazy because I am not religious like literally at all anymore, but I was a youth group leader in college. And so I was always like building connections, hanging out with
mm,
kids and stuff. And I think that really helped me in instructing because I knew how to build community and
mm.
talk with people and build connections just out of nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That always, that was something random that came in handy for me. I would say like marketing and social media from doing stuff with PR and how that
Hmm.
evolved. And in terms of business, I really did not know much, but our investor knows so much and has been teaching us since day one how to run
Mm.
a business. And he is so in depth. He takes us through literally everything, all the financials. Like he does not let us not understand what's going on.
Hmm.
So he kind of did this as a passion project and he loved our classes and he really was just passionate about making this business work and he really believed in us. And so he really wants to set us up for success.
Hmm.
So he takes us through everything. I'm not good with numbers, but I'm very thankful that he never keeps anything from us.
We have a very similar situation in Winnipeg with a really, experienced investor who's like sort of the backbone, who was a rider. And when we were talking about sort of divesting Wheelhouse from Vault and all of that, he stepped in and it's been, amazing in providing us the support that we need along with that expertise. Um, and so it's been 2 years, right? 2 years, 2 years of NYX.
Years. Yeah.
Okay, amazing. And I saw that you just celebrated 2 years of Swifty Saturday as well, which is,
Yes.
I mean, I love a running theme. Like we were just talking before we started hitting record. I, have a 7 year running Rise and Rap theme, which is yours. Like, are people gonna get tired of this? And
Never.
with similar to Taylor Swift, like there's hip hop just keeps, coming with new songs. Plus, most of my riders are like millennials or, even older, and they love the old school stuff. So
Yeah.
it never seems to be too repetitive. I'm curious about like staying on the theme of your business and learning all these things, becoming a leader to other instructors, and now you're going on tour, you're about to visit Canada, and like our friends at Sweat and Tonic, which in Toronto, which is a studio I love, and some folks I knew have known who've taught there. How did that shift for you in terms of being an instructor and then like stepping into more of like a mentorship role, both for your team and for other coaches sort of internationally?
It's it's just so crazy how it evolved. Literally how this happened is I had my email in my bio on Instagram and a studio reached out to me. And I think I'm the type of person where I never want, when I get too comfortable, then I know I'm not growing, which is like
Mm,
cliche. I know a lot of people say that, but I was like, what if I just put it out there that I am open to traveling or mentoring or helping other studios or instructors who need help? And
hmm.
literally a week later, it might not have even been that long, I was reached out to by the head instructor or social media manager and head instructor at the studio called Ride Tribe in Kentucky.
Hmm.
And that was my first trip. But I didn't really ever see myself in much of a mentorship role. I always saw myself more as an instructor, building community in my own space because that's what I was really comfortable with and good at.
Hmm.
Putting that out there was just something that stretched me and scared me. But at the same time, people were asking, like sending me emails or DMs, have you ever traveled? Would you ever do this? Would you ever do that? And I was just like, I guess maybe. Well, I don't know. I might as well.
Yeah.
I think it took me trusting myself a little bit more and being like, yeah, I've built this and I've done this and I know what I'm doing. So I
Hmm.
can help other people.
For sure. I mean, you're in a position too where like you and your business partners would have hired instructors, right? So being on the side of like what the qualities outside of your own that it takes to build community, be successful, be an effective coach, be able to fill classes because and that is the reality. We need to be able to like have butts on seats to make a business run and high utilization rates.
Yeah.
So having that perspective too is so key. Like a person, like both being the person who went through that first audition process and didn't get it to now being the person who, is on the other end hiring and also mentoring. Like what a cool evolution of your story.
Yeah, it's insane. I never expected it. And I always tell the studios that I'm traveling to, I always say, hey, I can just come and teach some classes and you can use that to inspire your team, your people, a fun event. Or if you want me to do more of a workshop style along with the teaching, I can do that. And when I do workshops, I always tell owners and coaches that I'm not here to change you or teach you any sort of method to be like me.
Hmm.
I'm only here to help you be more like you. And that's all. Because I don't have any certain strategy I'm trying to teach you just to be more
Hmm.
like you if you're looking for ways to be better. So it's really cool how that's evolved and changed over time.
Yeah, and I think that's like one of the misconceptions, and I know that you had shared that it was important for you to emphasize in this interview was like you don't need to be exactly like anybody else. You don't need to sort of copy and paste. And I think sometimes instructors know that, but they struggle then with like what they should be like. And I always say when I'm training instructors, and we're training a few new trainees at Vault right now, which I think I might have just announced, but but it's like when you are authentically you on the podium, I find it just feels natural. Like I just can be myself. I can be silly. And I'm a subscriber to, I always want to say, is it NYX Plus or NYX
Yeah,
Online? So I'm a
yeah,
subscriber. I watch your videos and that banter and like the fun shout outs and all that sort of stuff, whatever style that an instructor wants to share that connection in, it's like whatever feels natural to you. And of course, it's going to feel a little unnatural because we have a microphone on our face and we're working out. But there is a point where, just like in your as a rider, you lose sort of like track of time, and you're like, oh my gosh, the ride's over, and that can happen as instructors and coaches. And I love that that's your message is you don't have to change the way you're doing things. I'm here to sort of like amplify the things that make you special, which is
yeah,
so cool.
for sure. That's the
And
most.
has there been like I'm so curious because I've made sort of an effort to work mostly with studios and brands online. Traveling is just I have horses and I have like a home, and so traveling is
You
sometimes
do?
yeah, I'm a horse girl. I'm a
Oh, I
certified.
was a horse girl too growing
Stop,
up.
really?
Yeah,
Oh my gosh, I
yeah.
love finding us in the wild. I'm always like,
And
there's like a small intersection of people who ride horses and ride bikes, and like I find them always.
and it's us. It's us.
Yeah.
I don't have horses anymore, but I grew up with them, so
Oh,
I love them.
amazing. Yeah, I came back to it in adulthood. And so it's made travel, harder sometimes
Yeah,
and spending time away from family and stuff. And then also just like whatever, COVID and things that are happening in our world that makes it a little
yeah.
harder for us to travel. But I've made the effort to be like, okay, I'm going to work with people online mostly because I love the accessibility of that. And I'm curious about like the reception from your perspective of going to teach at different studios. Like, was there any anxiety, teaching in a new place as an instructor, or were you just sort of excited to meet new people, given your sort of journalism background and like outgoing personality?
I was definitely nervous. I am always, I don't know why I always have this fear that people aren't going to like my music.
Hmm.
I I don't know why. I just feel like sometimes I play songs that maybe you wouldn't typically hear in a class, but then again, I'm thinking maybe that's just here in Arizona. There are not a lot of people that play pop music
Okay.
in Arizona, and so I'm always in my head like, this is so niche. Is anyone gonna know this? I do spiral about the music, and then I have to remind myself of like, I just need to play what I love and what I'm passionate about because these people literally hired me to
Hmm.
bring who I am and this kind of stuff I like to their studio. So that was something that I was nervous about and really overthought playlisting and stuff. I also was nervous about new lighting and sound
Hmm.
system and setup and just sound is crazy in general from studio to studio.
Hmm.
So, and that has been kind of the hardest part of traveling, to be
For
honest.
sure. Yeah. I would imagine just like we have a really fantastic sound system. Like whenever we have external people come in, they're like, whoa, I'm like, I know. And this is other things about me. I used to be a DJ. And so, like, a club DJ, which is where I bring a lot of my inspiration from. And so I'm very, like, people will be okay with a blurry photo or video. They will not be okay with like a bad sound, like audio on something, which is
Yup.
also why I care about podcast audio. And so being in a class, if something's like way too loud or you can tell that a speaker's blown or like the sub is zzz, and you're like,
Yup.
okay, that's all I'm hearing, and my monitor isn't there or whatever. Like sometimes they've coached instructors and they talk about how they're losing their voices and they can't hear themselves. And I'm like, do you have a monitor? And they're like,
Yeah.
what's that? I'm like, okay, so it's a speaker
Yeah.
that faces you, and that's probably why you're having these vocal issues, is because you
Yup.
can't hear it. So I would imagine that would be, yeah, just interesting and like test your skills to be adaptable and flexible as you go to new spaces.
It has definitely tested me and made me more flexible for sure. And it also makes me appreciate the sound system that we have because we have worked so hard on ours and had all the issues and all the things. And so I'm very thankful for our sound system. But yeah, it has made me like, okay. And no
Hmm.
matter what, I'm going to bring the energy because I don't know how this sound system is going to be. I don't know what's going to happen next,
Hmm.
really. So
Hmm.
just got to do what I do.
And for the pop music stuff, I love that because everybody, I feel like, thinks once they become an instructor has a moment of like, are they going to love this? Are they going to like this? And it's partly about like how you not sell it, but like how into it you are. And the
Yeah.
more like I play a lot of obscure tracks that some of my Gen Z writers have been like, oh, like my friends' parents have this playing.
Yeah, you're like,
Um, yeah, thanks? Question mark. It'll be
yeah.
like "What's Up" by Four Non Blondes or like some
Oh,
like really like old rock music that I if I do a rock ride like or rock remixes. But like it's partly like, are you into it? Because
yeah,
that energy, they can feel that energy. They love to see you excited about something too. And so you've had Swifty Saturday for the last 2 years, which is amazing. And I've seen all of your, or most of your, I think, different like theme rides on the platform.
yeah,
What like so there's you said sometimes you had that thought initially of like, will they like this? It just seems like the community has loved to have somebody who loves this music as much as they do and like sing to that, like, whether it's High School Musical or like something else, they're just excited to sing at the top of their lungs to these themes. Has that been your
yeah.
experience?
It really has. I can't believe it, and I didn't know it would be such a thing before I did it because at I started kind of doing that type of stuff when I was teaching at the Madison, and
Mm.
not no one was doing themes like that. Like no Disney, no Taylor Swift, no I mean, I've done it all. Like
Hmm.
truly, High School Musical. No one was doing that. And when I put those classes on the schedule when I was newer, they would fill up out of nowhere. And I was brand new. People didn't know me. And then I really built my community off of those theme rides. And then I was able, now I can do whatever.
Hmm.
That just wasn't happening at all. So I just didn't know people needed and wanted that space to sing and be joyful and hear that kind of music in a spin class. I didn't know, but it's been wild and really
I
cool.
I love that because I think at some point it might have been in your wish list for the fitness industry for this year. Like sometimes I think there's like this like sort of fake conflict that's within spin, and it's like
Mm.
and the themes became came up at some point and I'm like, why do we hate themes? Like
Yeah,
I don't get this at all. Like I did a
not
podcast
the
episode.
theme controversy. I'm like, every time I see one of those videos, I'm like, you're adding me, aren't you? Just say it. Just tag me. Why don't you just tag me?
Yeah, I'm like, I feel seen. I also feel a little bit attacked right now. Like I have always appreciated themes, not only like as because they're coming, they're requested by my riders, but also they're like helping to draw more people in who might not have ridden with me before. And only see Rise and Rap on the schedule or whatever. And like, it's just a fun thing. It's just a fun thing that people love. And yes, you can have a normal, like a regular ride and be very creative. But I do firmly believe that when you are sort of like brave enough, I'll put in quotation marks, to put up sort of an obscure, like Ryan Jones, who used to be with Soul Cycle, has been on the podcast, did Musical Mondays. And he did like Musical Mondays every Monday at like 8 p.m. on a Monday. And it just became this huge thing. And I'm like, why do we try and pretend like that's a bad thing? Like, it's not.
That is so cool. Like if you, I wish I was into musicals like that because I would be doing that. That is that is amazing.
Yeah,
And
I can't. I'm like not a musical girly whatsoever.
yeah,
And I even like there's a Grey's Anatomy episode where they start singing, and I'm like, I can't. I can't.
right.
Why is there a musical episode? Nobody
Yeah.
wanted this at
Yeah.
all, but I respect musical people, and my best friend loves them. So yeah, he would love it. He would go to a theme ride for sure.
Oh,
Um, I wanted to switch gears, but I did want to talk about like a post that I really loved of yours. And I like it's not that I love one more or the other, but there was one where you were open and vulnerable about having an autoimmune disease. And as somebody who also has been this past year navigating chronic illness and migraines, it's challenged me from being like a person who's always seen themselves as like I can do anything and like work through anything and whatever, to being like actually need some time off from the podium. And so um I don't know if I remember when you said that you were aware of your symptoms actually being diagnosed as an autoimmune disease, but how has that shaped sort of your approach to teaching, and maybe even like being aware of riders in the room who might be having, who might be experiencing something we don't know about, and sort of your approach with NYX as like in terms of accessibility and inclusion?
it's really interesting. I was diagnosed with my first autoimmune disease when I was about 2 or 3 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, my mom thought that I had colic because I would scream and cry and whatever. She came to find out that it was rheumatoid arthritis. So you can have
Mhm.
juvenile rheumatoid arthritis as a baby.
Oh,
So
wow.
I had it in my knees and I would just scream and cry and scream and cry. And it started to get better as I got older, but I have always focused on my diet. I've had to be more strict because I also ended up getting diagnosed with celiac disease, which
Mm.
is pretty much a gluten allergy, but
Hmm.
it is an autoimmune disease.
Hmm. It's quite
So
serious too, from what I understand of friends who have it in terms of like lifestyle and all of that.
it is because basically your small intestine will make antibodies against itself if you eat gluten. So it's a
Mm.
serious autoimmune disease. And
Hmm.
typically, if you have one autoimmune disease, you have many others or are more likely to develop more as you get older.
Hmm.
So when I hit puberty, I didn't realize that I had hypothyroid, but I definitely did pretty much as soon as I hit puberty because I was losing hair, acne, like I had all the symptoms. I
Hmm.
just didn't get diagnosed until college.
Mm.
So when it got really bad, like my hair was falling out in chunks, I would like lose a ton of weight and then gain a ton of weight, and
Mm.
I dealt with mental health issues from it. People don't know, but autoimmune diseases severely impact your mental health too, or
Hmm.
can, and your energy. So I got onto thyroid medication when I was in college, and it was kind of like a quick fix. I really have always been cautious about my diet and what I eat
Hmm.
in terms of keeping gluten out of my diet and managing my sugar intake and stuff like that, simply because inflammation.
Hmm.
But finding my thyroid medication was kind of a quick fix until probably like 2 years ago when we opened NYX. It really was working real good.
Hmm.
And then I got stressed I'm in my late 20s now, and I just started getting like pretty much all of my symptoms back from being
Mhm.
so stressed. I thought I was good. I thought the medication was gonna just keep everything at bay. I was fine. I was the energetic, happy, like lighthearted person all the time. And opening NYX was a really big wake up call because I was so stressed and getting no sleep. And pretty much all my symptoms came back. I had to change my medicine multiple times.
Mhm.
And it's been a really big balance of having to manage my stress
Mhm.
because I've recently, last year, I had a huge flare. That was like my biggest flare, hair falling out, like not being able to sleep and sleeping so much and
Mhm.
all the things, which is really hard when you have to be a positive force for everyone else and everyone sees you this certain way and they have no idea that you're going through this. And if you tell someone you're going through this, they literally don't believe you because
Mhm.
it's not what they see,
Mhm.
because there's really nothing you can see.
Mhm.
So it's really hard. I It really has impacted me and made me realize that I need to talk about it because someone came up to me after class one time and was talking to me about her autoimmune disease and how it holds her back from working out sometimes and all these things. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have that too. And it's, I've been having this flare. And we had this whole conversation. And she was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're the instructor and you deal with this too. And so then I started being really open about it because I was like, dang, why am I not telling people? There are so many people that are dealing with these type of things that just want to feel seen
Mhm. And not alone.
and not alone. And when your fitness instructor is up there and they're like your role model and they have so much energy and it just makes you more relatable. And I never want to be unrelatable. I want to be with my people and let them know that we're all going to have off days and it's okay to not have a lot of energy on certain days because I don't either. And I'm
Mhm.
there with them and ultimately coming to class and moving your body helps in the long run, but not all the time. But
Yeah, and especially even just from a connection perspective too. Sometimes like I've had people with acute injuries and they're like, I'm just gonna sit on this bike because I actually just need to hear you today. And I'm like, okay, you've got a
yeah.
neck brace on, Jen. Please don't please
Yeah.
don't. But it's true. Like people come to us for community and you mentioned being a youth group leader in the past. I'm like, I come from a undergrad of I went to a theology school, even though it was just for volleyball. And so like it
Yeah.
was kind of very similar. And I happened to take a preaching 101 course because it's the only like oral communication class available at the time I wanted. And what I realized is like a lot of people still go to church. A lot of people still go to more traditional places of finding inspiration and motivation and community and stuff. But a lot of people have moved that or it's involved to group fitness sort of like spaces where that's where they find people who understand them and can speak to their soul and like just give them that boost physically and mentally. So I want to applaud you for sharing all of that because it is like the internet can be cruel and you have a large following and I clap back real hard at people who try and say anything to me. And I have
Yeah.
like a fraction of the people who follow me and usually I match their energy, which I need to probably stop at some point. But it is a vulnerable thing. I
It's
think
hard.
it's definitely hard. I think that like that perspective is so important for you to have and for your business to have too, is like understanding people, when we talk about like advanced riders versus I'm like, sometimes I show up now and I like if I'm having a bad day with what I'm dealing with, like where I get really dizzy, I'm not going to be running out of the saddle. And I'm an instructor, so I don't necessarily want to have that expectation on me. And just
Yeah.
we realize that people are like that too. And your diehards who are front row want to take a C and B on the side. Doesn't mean they hate you. Doesn't mean they're not coming to class, like whatever. It's just they need that day. Um,
Right.
I also noticed that you got a coaching certification to help people through like holistic sort of wellness and like went to school to study this, which I think is so amazing and interesting. I don't know if that's coming into play in anything you're doing now, but like to better understand yourself and be able to speak to others about it, I think is amazing.
Yeah, I actually did use that certification for a second after school while I was working a full-time job and I was doing health coaching and I was working through my health coaching certificate at that time and at the time where I started coaching at that smaller spin studio, I was also doing health coaching on the side and I really loved it. But it also taught me, because I had kind of mentioned to you that I struggled with kind of like I don't want to say specifically an eating disorder, but just a hard relationship with
Hmm.
food.
Hmm.
And it really taught me a lot about actual nutrition and just how to nourish your body. And it really healed a lot of my relationship with food. So it really, like you said, it taught me a lot about myself. And then I was just coaching a little bit on the side and then didn't have time for it. But I'm so glad I did it.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, I have an episode talking about like I did have an eating disorder and I thankfully it's been years. I did fitness competitions and this is like like back in the day
Oh
and
my
and
gosh.
you just get to a point where you're like I don't know how to even think about food because I unless somebody's giving me a plan that's like really getting trying to get me to lose weight and I'm 6 feet tall, I'm a very tall person and like
You
to
are?
yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I know. We're just in these little Zoom like photos, so you'd have no idea. But there's, yeah, somebody recently posted a photo with me and he's like 6'3", and I'm like, we're like
Wow.
close.
I
Yeah, we're
learned
close
that
tonight.
Jordan, Healthy Bunhead, she's
Yes.
also like 6 foot. I
Yes.
was mind blown.
Yeah, she's been on the pod too. Yeah. And I know I'm like fellow tall girls because I'm always like, what's the inseam on this legging? 'Cause like I do
Same.
not
But other way around.
Yeah, I can take like a legging down if there's like enough of a whatever, like, but I am not into the capris like of like 2015 cycle, so I really need to know. But okay. And so I love that you bring this like empathy to your riders and connection to community and like authenticity. Um, when you decided to open NYX, was that part like what were you envisioning for this space that would be different than like what was offered or different than what where you had taught before?
Yeah. I think all three of us really wanted to create a space for everyone. And it's not to say past studios that we were at weren't a space for everyone. We just knew our riders and our classes felt like a very safe space. And we wanted to create our space to entirely be a safe
Hmm.
space. So I don't know if you know this, but we got the name NYX from combining New York and Phoenix. So it's Phoenix,
Hmm.
NYX. And Kristen, my co-owner, she's from New York. And
Hmm.
so, and I'm from Arizona. So we wanted to just combine the energy of New York and like the Arizona fitness scene, because the
Hmm.
fitness scene is so huge here in Scottsdale. But with that New York piece, it's like a melting pot. It's something for
Hmm.
everyone. There's so many different types of people, and everyone is welcome, and everyone has a space, and there's just something for everyone. And
Hmm.
so that is a huge part of NYX to us, like something for
Hmm.
everyone. Everyone's welcome here. This is the melting pot. We want this to be the safe space. And especially with my chronic illness, I always want to make sure that everyone who walks in the door feels like they can come to my class with no expectation because I
Hmm.
also was so intimidated by group fitness and didn't feel like I was in shape enough or cool enough or strong enough when I first started. And I never want or wanted anyone to feel that way. So that's just a huge why in our business.
I love that. And there's like you can feel that, hopefully one day I get to walk through the doors of one of your two studios or both. And I like you can feel that as a client right away. Like, am I sort of othered immediately? Like I've gotten like side eye in different studios, not the one you're going to in Toronto, but a different one. And I was like, man,
No.
if I'm a spin instructor and I feel like awkward for walking up to the front desk, like this is not community, which happened to be like on their wall. I'm like, this is like,
Right.
because they're like, oh, you're from Manitoba. Oh, it's like that scene in Bridesmaid where she's like, oh, you're from, I'm sorry, it's like Milwaukee. It's like, oh,
Literally.
okay, yeah. It's
Oh
like,
no.
yeah.
Yeah,
And so that's I love that because and this is a good segue into the next topic is you're opening a second studio. So you must be living those values and like showcasing that for there to be enough of a demand to have two studios. So congratulations on that announcement.
yeah, thank you. It is really insane. I feel like we're going through all the insanity again.
Hmm.
We just have it figured out a little bit more in terms of everything's already more set up. But it's crazy. I don't know if I, no, everyone knows. The location that we are opening our second studio in is an old Madison location.
My God, that is so
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Like,
So basically, we're taking over where we all started at, which is
yeah.
mind blowing.
That would be such like an interesting emotional journey of like this is truly an evolution and what a cool way to be like, hey, we're going to be coming in here not to like recreate what it was, but to bring our new or like our new version of like or what we've created and have it like live on the same land as I just love that.
For sure. It at first we were like, oh, because the opportunity was presented to us. So
Hmm.
we all of us were kind of like, ooh, I don't know
Hmm.
about that. And at some point we were all talking about it and we were like, this is a sign. This is what we've been talking about. And here it is.
Hmm. Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
demand for it in this part of town, and here we go.
Yeah, you're like, is this weird? Nah, no, this is
Don't think about it too hard.
yeah, no, it's cool. It's cool. We're gonna decide it's perfect. I love that.
Exactly. Sage it,
Yeah,
like,
I was gonna say, I was gonna say, maybe cleanse out the energy a little bit.
yes.
Yeah, and paint and all of that, and you'll be right as rain. You'll be all set. And so what was something you learned about the first time around that you're applying like specifically to opening a second studio? Like either something that didn't go well or something that you're like, we need this. It can be as simple as like water fountain location or ventilation or speaker systems.
Oh, the sound system for sure.
Mm,
When we opened, we had two speakers facing away from the stage, like you said,
mm,
the whole monitor thing.
mhm.
And when we turned on the music for the first time, also bodies in the room make the music lower.
Right,
The
they absorb it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And we thought it was going to be the perfect setup. Sounded great with all of us training there for a month or so. And it was just me, Kristen, DJ, Priscilla, and Sam, who are two instructors that we had worked with previously. And we didn't even go through the hiring process. We were just like, you're coming with
Yeah.
us. Um,
Yeah,
and
Priscilla's amazing.
yeah, she's
Hmm.
great. And so, we thought it was going to be great. And we turned on the music for our first class, and it was quite literally a whisper.
Oh my God.
It was, we were frightened. It like you could hear everything, coughs,
Mhm.
spikes, just,
Breathing, the squeak of
yep.
the wheel.
And it took us months to figure it out. We
Mm,
tried all these different things, speaker position. It was just a mess. But I will say through that is how the super sing-along rides started.
mm,
So the excitement for theme rides at that point, the riders don't really notice that the sound is,
hmm.
they just were there for the vibes. And that's how people got really into singing in my classes and everyone's classes, honestly. So blessing and a curse, but now
Hmm.
we have the sound system figured out.
Amazing. I have a studio client who's going through bit of a bit of that a few months after opening and just like trying different things and it's like people should be hired to know how to do this. But for some reason there's just that's why I said I don't trust tech at the beginning from being a DJ. Like you're just like, why is the song playing backwards for absolutely no reason? And you're like, you're
Yeah.
like, this is just, it's one of the reasons I stopped DJing. I was like, I can't handle the anxiety and stress of like setting up my turntables at a new space every single time. Um, it just doesn't work. But I love that you have that. Like, you must feel more comfortable. And hopefully, the overarching stress is like shared by the group, but also just personally, like, we've done this before
Yeah.
and this we've taught in this space. So, the advantage would be more things about it too, and like things that need to be repaired
And
and
like, I
changed.
think we need to do a full-on test ride. We need to
Hmm.
invite 45 people for a free class to test out the sound system, the kinks, not a full-blown like class, but like
Hmm.
positive music, talking, what we need to do that.
Hmm.
That is going to set us up for success for the first actual classes.
Yeah. Yeah. The whisper that you were mentioning. And like that impacts your voice too, like I'm big on voice care for instructors and when you feel like you can't hear yourself, it's like it's challenging. So I'm glad that you're going to this feeling, more like you've got that on lock in terms of the sound. What's the opening date?
We don't have an exact date, but we're hoping that we're going to open in July.
Amazing. That's
Yeah, we just hired our full instructor team that's going to go through training. So they
Mhm.
still have to go through the training and all of that, but we just sent out acceptances and we hired our full front desk staff.
Amazing. And did you have to hire quite a few more instructors because of like just to fulfill the classes and availability and all of that?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we have 10 in our training team that we just took on because we're going to need coverage for
Hmm.
both. So.
Yeah. Everybody says they have availability at 6 a.m. and then you're like, stop.
Stop. That's so true. They're like, we'll do anything to work here. And then you find out. And that's okay. It's fine.
Yeah, they need to know too. Like, right? Like everybody just the excitement, dopamine, all of that like takes over and then you're like, "Okay, but actually, like getting up at yeah, and I was of that camp too. My first classes like that I taught at a different studio because I had a similar story where I was like rejected twice from teaching. One was just at like a regular gym and that one really stung. But that was in like 2009 and so yeah, like dealing with like, but I was like, I'll take what I can get. I'll teach the 6 a.m. Tuesdays and Thursdays in the summer when there's 4 people, 5 people, and just like figure it out. And it makes you a better instructor if you put in the work for those times, especially teaching to 6 a.m. classes because they can be a little bit different than, 9:30 noon, your evening class folks too. Like there's people, and then they can also be exactly the same. I'm like, I've done theme rides at 6 a.m. and treat them like it's Friday night and it's nobody.
That's the way to do it. Yeah.
Exactly. And so, just sort of like as we're wrapping up our conversation, it's completely flown by, which is wild. But um, you just went through, so you just had instructor auditions, you just sent out letters of offer. And when you were sharing some things you want to talk about today, you were talking about, that message of being authentically you, and we don't all have to be the same. Did you see that come through your auditions? And like, what type of advice would you have for an aspiring instructor?
Yeah, we really did. In the people that we selected, that is something that we were looking for. And so many people that tried out were absolutely amazing.
Hmm.
And it doesn't mean that they won't come on with us eventually, but we really did go for people who we felt had a really strong sense of self and
Hmm.
knew what they liked and knew what they liked to play. And in their interviews, when we would ask them, what they liked about us, they would mention, we love that your studio and your instructors are all authentically themselves. And that's something that pretty much everyone that we put onto our training team said in their interview. And we're like, yes, that's what we're looking for because we
Hmm.
can still train you. You don't have to be perfect right now, but we want to see that from you because that's what we're
Hmm.
looking for. We're not looking for what the ideal copy and paste instructor is. We're looking for someone who can be themselves and who's a nice person and who shows good character traits as well. That's also hard to come by.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, but we had amazing people try out, and I hope that they continue. Like, there are some people, I really hope that everyone continues to try out again. And I hope
Mm-hmm.
people don't lose hope, because I never did, and you never did, and you
Yeah.
kept coming back. And that says a lot about your character too. But yeah, we definitely were looking for people who were really passionate about being themselves.
Yeah. And like that's that certainty too, right? Like you don't have to be confident 100% of the time when you're up there, but remembering that like fire you have to do this helps you when feedback is challenging or you're not quite getting a certain concept or beat drop or struggling with lead leg, whatever, like some of those more the skills that you can teach,
Yeah.
but like it's really hard to teach that like personality, charisma, magnetism, like, and you can turn up the volume on it too. And I always have my instructors go through different like tasks to like get them to feel like they want to scream, sing a song and be like, whatever song you want to put on, just put on right now and let's vibe out because I don't want to see the perfectly packaged you. I want to see the version that's like partying at the club and like let's like get that in, whatever that looks like. Yeah. So like to wrap up, is there anything else you would like to add either for instructors, studio owners, or even people who want to get a hold of you and like potentially bring you in to work with their studio?
Oh man.
No
Um,
pressure.
I would say, well, to studios and instructors, being yourself is key. You don't have to be like anyone else. And also, don't fall victim to the internet theme slander. All right. You can do whatever you need to do and want to do, and that does not make you a bad instructor or a bad
Yeah.
coach. You got to do what feels good to you
Mhm.
in all ways. And find a fitness studio if you're a rider or looking for community. Find a or a fitness instructor or studio that is feels safe to you and that always encourages modifications and doing what you need to do
Mhm.
over pressuring you to fit in or look a certain way.
Mhm. I love that. I'm here for that too. When I've heard of people be like, my instructor turned up my dial, and I'm like, what? I'm
Yeah.
like, what?
Hello.
Yeah,
And
like,
then if you want me to come to your studio, I would love to just bring you good vibes, but no
mhm.
pressure. I'm always here, and you can come visit me too. So,
Amazing. You're about to get like an international like like representation of people who come to visit your studios in Arizona. Holland, it's been an absolute pleasure. I've just, as I said to you before we started recording, I think that you bring such a joyful, like pure energy. Like I know you wear a lot of pink, but I almost feel like yellow, like as a vibe.
oh,
And it's among like a lot of fear mongering in the fitness industry. It's so refreshing to have us like be reminded of why we do this as instructors and also how fun it can be and just like full of joy, as I mentioned. And I see that from your videos when I ride with you, and I hope to do that one day in person too. So thank you again so much for coming on the podcast.
I hope I get to see you in person too. And thank you. And I also feel like I could talk to you a long time. So hopefully we talk again soon.
Maybe one year this will be like a 2 hour like podcast like they have.
I would love
Okay.
it.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Thanks for listening all the way to the end of the Yes You Can podcast. If you loved this one, I would so appreciate a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts. That lets others know that, hey, this is a good podcast and it's worthwhile to listen to. If you really loved it, make sure to share with somebody you love who could benefit from a little magic and motivation in their lives. Thanks so much, friends, and have a great day.